ultra processed foods have been shown, okay, to wreak havoc on your body, increase inflammation, spike your blood sugar, wreck your high blood pressure. It literally has been shown to just break your body down. So we got to stop eating fast food. We got to stop eating microwave dinners. And we have to start being intentional about the food that we're putting into our bodies, because the overly processed food is not going to help us heal, okay? The chips, the food that's already in a package, all right? We got to start looking at fresh food. We got to start looking at food that we have to prepare for ourselves, right? We're trying to heal. We're trying to eliminate blood pressure medication. We're trying to bring our blood sugar down. We're trying to bring our A1C down to a better level. We got to be intentional. We have to be. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Monique Diltz podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Monique Diltz, registered pharmacist, and we're going to dive right into another amazing episode. Today, we're going to talk about life-changing food swaps. These are food swaps that will help you heal. Okay, so if your desire is to be relieved of high blood pressure medication, diabetes medication, you want your A1C to look a little better, okay, you want your liver to be cleansed, you want your kidneys to work a little bit better, these are the food swaps that you definitely want to consider. Okay, so let's get right into it. So the first thing that you want to do, okay, is bring in the healing fruits and vegetables. All right. So you want to make your plate look at least half, okay, of fresh fruits and vegetables. You got to see some color on the plate. All right. We shouldn't have anything bland on the plate with no color. Okay. No white rice, white bread, everything. The color is just gone. It's been bleached, right? We want some vibrancy on the plate. We want all the colors of the rainbow if we can on the plate. All right. We want some apples. We want berries. We want some fresh leafy greens. Okay. We want some oranges, maybe some carrots, some cabbage, whatever it is that you can find that has vibrant color, especially the purple and the red colors. Those are very good for cleansing the blood. Those are the things that you want to have the most. Okay. For example, beets. All right. We already know that beets loaded with phytonutrients that help cleanse the blood. Okay, so they help replenish red blood cells, they help with iron levels, and they also help with blood pressure. Okay, so having something like that is a win. And that's just beets alone. There are so many fruits and vegetables that God has given us. All right, so once we start putting more of the healing foods God has given us on our plates, we will heal. Again, you want to make it at least 50% or more of your plate. If you can make it the majority of your plate, okay, if you can have a whole bowl of fruits for a meal, that's doing it. Okay, if you can have a salad, okay, for a meal, you're doing it. Okay, your body will thank you, because these are the foods that your body desires for healing and also to be full. The reason why we're not finding that we're getting full at meals is because we're not getting enough fiber. And what is a good source of fiber? Fruits and vegetables. You're going to start to see that once you get more of these into your diet, you're going to feel satiated. You're not going to leave the table feeling as hungry because you had that salad or because you had that fruit with breakfast. All right. This is definitely something that I've even seen to be true with our kids. They may have a snack, whatever it is, maybe some granola bites or dry cereal, whatever it is. And they'll still come back and be like, Mommy, I'm hungry. I want another snack. And I'm like, you just had a snack. And I'm like, let me give you a banana, okay? Or let me give you some grapes, or let me give you strawberries or blueberries. And you give them some fruit along with that. Guess what? They're full. And they don't come back asking for another snack. So that immediately taught me that the fiber in that fruit, okay, the fiber in those vegetables that you also want to put on your plate, that is what's really making you feel full. That is what's really making you feel satiated. Your body's like, thank you, I finally got some nutrients. Once we learn to do this, all right, especially with the journey that we've been talking about on this podcast, we got to see my husband's blood pressure come down just by making this change alone. Okay, this is very important. You will see blood pressure improve just from adding more oxygen-rich foods to the plate, like fruits and vegetables. You will see blood sugar improve. You will see your blood levels improve. Okay, you will start to see your liver working better, your kidneys working better. And because you're getting full off of fruits and vegetables and you're not putting in too much processed food, right? You're going to start even seeing benefits with your weight and weight management. So it's a win to just get more fruits and vegetables on the plate. All right. Another swap that you definitely want to make is, instead of using white rice, you want to get something more nutrient dense like quinoa. All right. Or any type of grain that has nutrients. Okay. Amaranth, wild rice, or any type of whole grain alternative. Quinoa has a ton of fiber, okay? This is also going to help you feel full and also help you get things moving along in your system, and you get a load of nutrients while you're at it. The problem that you run into with white, overly processed rice, okay, is that it is more than likely processed with chemicals, with bleaching agents, okay, literally stripped of everything just so that it can have a shelf life for many, many years, okay? That rice that you're buying off the shelf has been sitting there for years, okay? So it's very important to choose something that hasn't been overly processed, like the white rice, and go with the grains like the quinoa or the amaranth, things like that, okay? You're gonna see a huge difference, again, with your blood sugar, especially with this one, okay? A lot of times the white rice is going to spike your blood sugar, all right? And many times they have found traces of arsenic even in the white rice. So here you are, you're thinking you're eating something healthy, but you're getting exposed to a ton of chemicals while you're at it. And then you're getting no nutrients, okay? So when you make this swap, you're definitely gonna see some healing changes. Instead of the white bread, again, the bleached white bread with bleached white flour, all right? You want to use a sprouted bread, preferably flourless if you can, like an Ezekiel bread, or whole grain bread such as that. But if you want a wheat flour bread, you want to make sure that it's unbleached and unbromated, okay? So that is a chemical that they use, of course, to strip the bread of the nutrients, of the germ, the wheat germ that is in there that has a lot of that nutrition, okay? It is stripped so that the bread can have a longer shelf life, all right? It's all about being able to sit on that shelf for a good period of time to make the sale, right? It's a business at the end of the day. So if you're not making your own bread at home, okay, and you're getting it from the store, you definitely want to consider making a change such as this. You're going to notice that once you're intentional about the bread that you're eating, you're going to see benefits with your blood sugar. All right. go ahead and make that switch to that sprouted bread, like that Ezekiel bread, okay? You're going to see a difference with your blood sugar almost immediately from having something like that. Okay, so you definitely want to choose a nutrient dense bread versus a regular white bread that's just been sitting on the shelf for maybe even a year. Okay. And they put dough conditioners, things to make it feel soft and fluffy. And, it's just chemicals. It's loaded with chemicals. So you definitely want to make that switch. Most of the times that bread is in the freezer. Okay, because it's not going to last long on that shelf. Okay, that's how you know it's much better for your body. Okay, now instead of white pasta, you definitely want to use a whole grain flour alternative like chickpea pasta. We've noticed a huge difference by switching to chickpea pasta. Okay, it is full of more protein. It also helps with blood sugar levels. Okay, this pasta is not going to spike your blood sugar once you're switching to a chickpea pasta, a lentil pasta even. Or you can even make pasta from vegetables, okay? Get you a spiralizer, right? And you can make you a nice zucchini noodles. You can make squash noodles. I've seen that. You can make cucumber noodles. We've done that. Beet noodles, carrot noodles, okay? Make you a nice noodle salad, right? It's amazing what you could do with vegetables and even fruit, okay? But you can use these alternatives that are going to help you on a healing journey. You can't expect your blood sugar to do so well when you're using things or eating things like the white pasta, the bleached pasta, the traditional pasta that is overly processed. That definitely has a high glycemic index and it is going to spike your blood sugar. So switching to things like chickpea pasta, things that are nutrient dense, fiber rich, is definitely going to be beneficial for your blood sugar. My husband had great results by switching to the chickpea pasta. I also have lost several pounds by making this switch alone. Okay. Because we love our pasta, right? We love our pasta, okay? But you're going to feel such a difference just even in your way your body feels after eating. You're not going to feel as heavy when you switch over to a chickpea or a lentil pasta, okay? All right. Another thing we definitely want to swap out is that flour, okay? We can't have that bleached flour on our shelves, okay? We see it all the time when we go to the grocery store. It's that white flour, okay? Just bleached and been sitting on that shelf for probably a year or two. Okay, that's not what we want in our body. That is not going to do anything for us but give us a belly full and maybe a stomach ache. Okay, so you want to switch out the regular white flour, okay, and you want to get you some nutrient dense flour. Okay, you want to use maybe spelt flour, einkorn flour, chickpea flour. You can actually use a hard red wheat flour. If you like the wheat flour, you can go with hard red wheat. I gotta say that slow. They actually sell that at Costco, 2 big bags. It's organic, non-GMO, and it's amazing. Okay, so these are the things you want to make sure you're getting nutrition in your food. You're spending money on it, right? So if you're spending money on something, don't you want to get something back in return? Don't you want to get some nutrition out of it? Right? Does it make sense spending on food and you're getting nothing from it? You're filling up your belly, right? And you're getting absolutely nothing, and it's wreaking havoc on your blood pressure. It's wreaking havoc on your blood sugar. No, we want to put things in our body that's going to help us heal, help us get results, right? Don't you want results? Then you got to make these changes, all right? These are some of the changes that are going to help, and we've seen it help our journey as well, all right? Let's get into refined sugar. You already know, okay? You already know you got to put down the sugar, okay? You got to put down the ice cream from the ice cream shop, okay? We can't pick up that candy bar anymore, all right? We can't sneak in a couple of candies at work, all right? And expect our blood sugar to be all right, okay? We can't do that. If we want to heal, if we want to be on a healing journey, we got to make some changes, okay? And even at home, we can't just go for the white sugar. All right. We can't even go for the brown sugar. Okay. We got to eliminate sugar, period, especially if you're trying to see some good results. Now, I know you're going to be like, sugar, that's a hard one, Dr. Mo. That's a hard one. Yes, it is. Okay. So let's look at some natural alternatives that you can dabble in sparingly. Okay. Sparingly. Sparingly means every now and then, okay? We can do agave, we can do maple syrup, we can do date syrup, okay? I like coconut sugar because coconut sugar actually comes from the actual coconut flesh, all right? It's amazing what they can make with coconut. And listen, I'm going to tell you right now, coconut sugar is actually very sweet. And when you haven't had sugar for a while and you pulled yourself away from sugar for a little while and then you have something like a coconut sugar, you're like, whoa, this is sweet. Because we've tried an amazing granola. I love her brand. And it is only sweetened with coconut sugar. And I'm telling you right now, I'm having dessert with that granola. I think it's Purely Elizabeth. Amazing ingredients. 100% stellar product. You can find that in Costco as well. Okay, I'm not affiliated. I'm just letting you know when somebody's doing it right, they're doing it right. And it is sweetened with coconut sugar. And you couldn't tell me that wasn't regular sugar. So I'm letting you know right now, this is a great swap. If you want to swap out regular sugar for something that you think you can have, even in your baking, coconut sugar is it. Okay. Monk fruit is also surprisingly sweet. Okay. Try you a monk fruit sweetener in some of your dishes. All right, you'll be surprised. So you want to use things that are not going to spike your blood sugar as high as a traditional sugar. Okay, a overly processed sugar that's just going to literally skyrocket your blood sugar through the roof. All right, your A1C through the roof. All right. If you're on a healing journey, you got to make some changes. All right. These are changes that you got to make. All right. And I know that you're going to find a really, really good place in some of these natural sugar alternatives. All right. Salt. Okay. You want to mindfully use salts, okay? Very sparingly, all right? We do have to have a level of salt in our diet, okay? You can't be salt-free, all right? You'll have problems even with your blood sugar and, with your blood pressure if you are salt-free, all right? You definitely want to keep a level of salt, all right, and an electrolyte balance, okay? So you do need a little level of salt. However, not the overly processed salts, okay? You want to use natural source salt, okay? Like Himalayan salt, sea salt, Celtic salt, okay? It has to be a mineralized salt, all right? Not overly processed, again, all right? So you want to reach for something that has a little bit of color in there, okay? Like the Himalayan salt, the pink Himalayan salt, all right? So you want to reach for something that just looks nutrient dense, okay? Food swaps again for oil, okay? Let's talk about oil. I don't think that we understand the impact that oil has on our bodies, and it is literally in everything. Like, we're literally addicted to sugar, salt, and oil. All right. And if you don't think you're addicted to oil, then give me that bag of potato chips. Yeah. Okay. It's in potato chips. It's in granola. It's in cookies. It's in cakes. It is in cereal. It is in everything. Okay. It's in bread. All right. There's some oil in bread. I've seen soybean oil. I've seen peanut oil. I've seen canola oil, literally in everything. And it is being just added to things for no reason at all. And I'm like looking at ingredients on the back of the packaging and I'm like, why is this there? Why? Why did we destroy the product by adding in canola oil, right? It's in everything. Grapeseed oil, sunflower oil. It's in everything, okay? And the oil builds up in our body. We do not need oil, okay? We will be perfectly fine if we didn't have oil, okay? And this is something that we should have sparingly. And as sparingly as you may want to have it, it is being put in everything, okay? So if you are going to use oil, you definitely want to swap out the highly refined oil with avocado oil, all right? Something that has more omega-3s, okay? And you want to have extra virgin olive oil and coconut oil. Those are the top 3 oils that you definitely will want to swap the oils that you have at home with. When you're cooking at high heat, you want to use avocado oil, okay? And the olive oil is more of like a finishing oil, right? That you would just drizzle on top of a salad. You could do a massaged kale salad, or even just on top of maybe some potatoes or something, or a dish. All right. You don't want to use that at extreme temperatures. And then for baking, you can sub with coconut oil. Coconut oil is amazing for baking, and you would not be able to tell the difference, okay? In fact, you may even like it better with coconut oil, your baked goods, all right? And then you're going to be getting the omega-3s, right? The oils that are not going to spike your inflammation levels, all right? What the oil is doing to our bodies, it is spiking our inflammation, okay? And when you increase that inflammation, guess what? Blood pressure is out of control. Diabetes out of control, okay? Your weight goes up out of control. You start getting inflamed in your body, your joints. You start feeling pain, all right? You're finding just things harder to heal, right? Because all of your inflammatory markers are up. Why? Because of the inflammatory oils. All right. We have to reduce the amount of oil in our body, and that includes chips. Okay. We joke about this all the time, but it's like, hey, are you having fried foods? No, I haven't had fried foods this week, but if you're having chips, okay, or even crackers, because I know crackers have oil, you're having something fried, okay, because it's fried or even baked maybe in oil, all right? So we really have to be intentional about the amount of oil we're putting in our body so that we can reduce inflammation, so that we can eliminate high blood pressure and diabetes, all right? It all starts with everything that is in our home and in our pantry, okay? Now, let's move on to snacking. Snacking. And I'm guilty of this myself because I make a snack plate for myself at work, okay? I put my snack plate to the side and I have it right there. But guess what? If you are going to snack, make it healthy, okay? And try to minimize the amount of snacking that you have, okay? So you can do celery sticks, carrot sticks, maybe some hummus, right? And with the right oil, if you're going to use oil with that, you want to use some nuts, some seeds, some fruits, some veggies. I always have a fruit bowl. That's one of the things that we love. Okay. So you want to snack less, right? And then you definitely, if you are going to snack, you want to make the snacks healthier. And the reason why you will want to snack less, especially if you are a diabetic, is because every time you eat, you're asking insulin to respond. So as soon as you put something in your mouth, right, insulin, the hormone, right, is going to need to do something with that. Okay. So you're triggering an insulin response every time you eat, okay? So if we're eating all the time throughout the day, all right, that eventually can lead to insulin resistance and can lead to prediabetes, which ultimately leads to diabetes, right? So the less we are snacking, the better for our blood sugar response and the better insulin will work for us, okay? How do we know this, right? We fast once a week, okay? So we're not getting in as many calories. We fast every Monday. So we're not getting in as many calories right on that Monday. And then when we eat again that Tuesday, we realize how insulin, right, responds in such a better way just from that break from food. Okay. Hey, don't knock it until you try it. All right. So fasting is a big part of healing. It really is. And you'll realize that when you take that break from eating and then you come back to eating, right? Number one, the food tastes so much better, right? But then you realize how much quicker your body just responds to that food that you've eaten, right? Your digestive system is working better. It's ready for something now. It had time to clear out everything. So that's definitely something you want to incorporate as well. All right. Water. Make water the goal. Make water the goal, the daily goal, and the beverage of choice. All right. We got to swap out these juices. We got to eliminate the high sugary sodas. Okay. Healthy sodas or not. We gotta try to eliminate it all. All right. Eliminate all the juices and the sports drinks with dyes. All right. And chemicals and overly processed sugar. All right. We're drinking a juice that has 50 grams of sugar. How are we supposed to heal with that? We got to make water the goal. Water should be the ultimate goal. It should be the beverage of choice. All right. And alkaline water, if you can get it, will be the better option. All right. So let's move on to eliminating processed foods. Okay. So if you are on a healing journey, okay, the ultra processed foods have been shown, okay, to wreak havoc on your body, increase inflammation, spike your blood sugar, wreck your high blood pressure. It literally has been shown to just break your body down. So we got to stop eating fast food. We got to stop eating microwave dinners, and we have to start being intentional about the food that we're putting into our bodies, because the overly processed food is not going to help us heal. Okay. The chips, the food that's already in a package. All right. We got to start looking at fresh food. We got to start looking at food that we have to prepare for ourselves. Right. We're trying to heal. We're trying to eliminate blood pressure medication. We're trying to bring our blood sugar down. We're trying to bring our A1C down to a better level. We got to be intentional. We have to be, okay? We can't stop by the filet anymore, okay? We can't make that run, all right? Instead, we may have to grab a piece of sprouted bread and make a sandwich with that, okay? We have to make some changes. We can't do the same thing that we've been doing if we want to see change, okay? And this change is for the better. Okay. You also want to exercise. Okay. Exercise most days of the week. Okay. And I'm talking to myself here too. 5 days out of the 7 is definitely going to be optimal, because that's most days out of the week. Most days out of the week where you want to get some type of movement in. Okay. Whether it's walking. Okay. Whether it is running, whether it is just, shaking out your arms just to get the blood flowing. You got to get some movement in. All right. At least 30 minutes a day, minimum. Okay, you gotta get some type of movement in because blood flow is very important on a healing journey. Okay, blood flow is important to eliminate toxins. You want to eliminate those toxins? Get your blood moving. Okay, you having problems with blood circulation? Get your blood moving. The only way to eliminate the toxicity, the buildup, the inflammation in our body, we gotta get it moving. All right, and that should definitely be a goal. Definitely be a goal on a healing journey. All right. Another goal on a healing journey is to get some sunlight. We don't have much sun now because it is the winter season. Okay. At least when this recording is happening. However, when the sun comes around again, okay, when it is out, we got to get it. And I love when it's out even for an extended period of time, okay? Like till like 8 o'clock at night. You can literally go outside after your meal and just take in the rays, you know? I'm actually looking forward to that. To spending more time outdoors and just enjoying that sun and breathing in that fresh air, right? We need more fresh air. Most of us are inside most of the day, right? So a lot of times we'll just open the windows of the house and just let that air come in, okay, and cleanse the house. One of the days we had here, we literally opened the windows in the front and the back, and the air was just flowing through, and it just felt so amazing. Like we felt like we were on a tropical island or something because that air was coming in from the front, cleansing out the house and going out the back. Okay, we got to get some real oxygen into our homes, into our lungs, right? And into our bodies. The healing is outside, guys. All right. I know I say this every single episode probably, but the healing is out there. We're just not out there enough. God has given us everything we need. That healing that you're looking for, you're searching for it, you're seeking it, it's already there. All right. Go get it. All right. We just got to go get it. Get that sun. That sun is a free energy source that excites your mitochondria in your cells and just gets them to heal. Guys, don't you feel so good when you stand out there in that morning and that evening sun, right? We know not to stand out in the sun, right? In the hottest part of the day. We know that. But we can get out there early in those early morning rays and that late evening rays and just take it in. And it feels absolutely amazing. I love when I'm out there. I just feel like I'm just soaking up healing every time I'm in the sun and every time I'm breathing in. And while you're out there, you definitely want to put your feet in the ground. If it's not muddy, if it's not rainy, put your feet in the ground. We were created to connect to this earth, not be disconnected with our shoes, right? There's a time and place, right? So we got to wear shoes when we go out to the grocery store, picking up the kids, whatever it is, we got to wear shoes, right? But when we're outside in our backyard or even at the park or, you know, having a moment, right? You can connect with the earth, right? And you can ground, okay? This also is very helpful on a healing journey. All right. So guys, I really enjoyed talking to you about food swaps that you can make on a healing journey. Some of the goals also to have that include having more water. All right. Getting outdoors, getting more sunlight, getting more exercise, getting more oxygen. Okay. Fasting is also very important on a healing journey. All right. We have to give our bodies a chance to heal. And if you want to do that, okay, we have to minimize some of this toxic food that we're putting into our bodies. And when you give your body a break for whatever time period you choose, okay, it can be intermittent fasting. It can be, you know, a smoothie fast, a liquid fast. It could be a water fast, whatever you decide, whatever works for you and your specific healthcare needs. All right. You always want to talk to your doctor, right, to get cleared, because everybody's life is different. Everybody has a different condition. But whatever it is that you choose to do, you're going to realize how much fasting will turn your life around. All right. Fasting and prayer go together. All right. We have to seek God on a healing journey. We can't do this by ourselves. God is going to let us know exactly what we need to do for our bodies. All we have to do is listen. Okay. And sometimes that means we got to put the food down. Okay. You're going to realize when you start fasting and praying, you're going to be able to hear and discern the voice of God even more. And God is going to let you know exactly what you need to do for your journey. All right. Praying to God and intentionally spending time with God will unlock a connection to the healing that you desire in all aspects of your life. Guys, God said the fruit will be for our food and the leaves for our healing. Ezekiel 47:12. You can also even use medicinal leaves, guys, which I've spoken about thoroughly in the last couple of episodes. Please check those out. Herbs and spices to fight inflammation and chronic disease. We serve an amazing God. He has given us everything that we need. All we have to do is tap in. I'm Dr. Monique Diltz, and I will see you on the other side of healing. Y'all be blessed.